All right, welcome YouTube, welcome Facebook. Thanks for joining me. Let's go live today and ship out 38 orders from this weekend. So Friday until this morning. I had 3 orders come in this morning. So we are going to get busy here in just a second. Give some time for people to come in, and then we're going to rock and roll because this is going to take a while. I'm going to go super fast, but as always, I'm going to be sharing with you everything that I sell. So everything that I sold, I'll share it with you brands. I'll tell you trends, what to look for, details of why certain things sold. So you'll want to pay attention to not just the brands that I'm selling, which are important, but you also want to make sure that you're paying attention to the nuance behind it. So was it a certain material? Is it in season or out of season? Was it a specific item? So again, brands matter, but more than brands, you want to find the nuance behind it. And I do my diligence on these lives to make sure that I'm explaining exactly what I'm picking up, what I'm selling, and why it's sold. So I had 1 order on Mercari. I had 5 orders on Poshmark. I'm going to be shipping, and I've got the rest on eBay, which I believe are 29 orders going out on eBay. So this is now the quick recap before I get started. This is now the 3rd weekend in the last 8 weeks that I have cracked that 30 units sold. So if I can average 10 a day on each weekend day, at least, I am very happy about that. So I think the most I've done ever, well, not ever, in the last 3 years was 38 I did about 8 weeks ago at the beginning of September. So last weekend was 30 units. The weekend before that was, I believe, 30 units. And this weekend was 30. So Q4 is coming in strong. Q4 is coming in strong. If you're new to my live, my name is Jason. I'm a full-time reseller. I go live every Monday morning around this time, around 9:30. I'm a full-time reseller that sells on eBay, Poshmark, Depop, Mercari. I've got a spreadsheet that I'm busy with right now selling as well. I'm about to release the 2026 version of the reseller spreadsheet. So I haven't been doing a lot of posts and content just because I've been so focused on the spreadsheet. So you can find my reseller spreadsheet. I've got the 25 version discounted about 25% right now in my Etsy store. You can find that linked wherever you're watching from. So let's go ahead and just get right into it. Enough about all of the kind of the lead up to that. Let's get started. So let me know where you're watching from. Say hello in the comments if you can. And yeah, let's get started. So I'm going to, as always, I start off with the platform that had the least amount of sales. And that for me was Mercari, typically Mercari Depop. Usually only get about a sale a weekend there. No Depop. But on Mercari, I got this St. John's Bay brand new with tags flannel that I sold for where is it? $23.98. So took a best offer, $23.98. I picked up a ton of these for $5 each at the JCPenney's like end of season clearance sale about 2-3 months ago. $5 a piece on like a bunch of their stuff, pants, corduroys, flannels. This was one of them. I've been selling them now. So sold a few already this fall. $23.98 on this bad boy. This was a 5XL tall, and you know that when I saw this 5XL tall in the store, I was excited because the bigger the better, and it is out. It is gone. Again, if you're new to me, I'm in Northwest Arkansas. It's interesting. This label came out kind of weird. Huh. Why is it cut off? I got to reprint this real quick. My label came out like chopped off, even though it's the same way that I print it every time. So let's do this again. Definitely want to make sure the scan works and sending this out. Okay. We are good to go. It's a weird thing on Mercari. We got shoes, we got clothing, we got hats, we've got non-clothing. We've got a duffel bag in there. So I had several $80 to $90 flips this weekend. I think 3 or 4. I had a couple that came in last night. So some really good sales price flips that really helped make the weekend. I think in total, I'm adding it all up, I did about $14.50 in sales over 3 days, Friday to Sunday through Sunday. What's up, Julie? Tina, thanks for joining. Tina, is there a way to integrate my spreadsheet with Nifty? I wish there was. There's not, unfortunately. I'm guessing you just mean like you can download from Nifty and get it into the spreadsheet. Unfortunately, no. That's a great question, though, and I appreciate you asking that. All right, Mercari is done. Let's jump into Poshmark. Like I said, we got a lot to ship out this morning, so we're not going to take any time getting to it. Usually try and make these lives about an hour. Just, I mean, if I go any longer than that, it's a long day. So a long time for you all. So let's get going. This is my smallest sale of the weekend. This Pendleton is actually a button up that was virgin wool, but when I got home, realized this women's shirt had a flaw. It had a rip on it, a pretty significant rip. So again, I just priced it. I think I priced it at like 10, 14, somewhere in that range. And the buyer made an offer for 5. Maybe I even listed at 9. I didn't even counter. A $5 offer. I'm like, you know what? If I even counter, I may lose the sale. Let's just get this flawed clothing out. And that's how it goes with flawed. I typically am just like, you make an offer, you get it. I don't want to have it sitting in my store for such little money and taking up space of another, what could be another item that's worth a lot more. So I don't typically lose money on clothing, but on this one I probably did, just because I only sold it for $5. I'm sure I probably paid $4 to $5, $6 on something like that. This past weekend I got my Poshmark supplies in, so I got these USPS Ground Advantage shoe boxes, which I can use for Poshmark shoes, which is great. That saves me from having to use my boxes and my supplies. I'm still waiting on, so in that same order I put in, I think I ordered 100 poly mailers and maybe another set of poly mailers or a box or something. I'm still waiting on those, so hopefully those are coming. I haven't gotten those yet. Tina says, yeah, I use both Nifty and my spreadsheet for those watching on YouTube, and they work great. Yeah, Nifty is great at automating your business. The spreadsheet gives you a lot more stats than Nifty does, and if you work both together in tandem like I do and like Tina does, it's amazing. So yeah, if you're looking for a spreadsheet, you don't have one yet, go ahead and check. I'm about to drop, probably in the next week or two, I'm going to drop the 2026. So this week I'm finalizing and finishing it. I've got some fun features coming out that will upgrade from the past year. So taking everything from last year's and then adding a couple, 2 or 3 features in. Julie, Susan, Radiant Bloom Shop, Pat, what's going on, everyone? How was your weekend? If you're watching on YouTube, say hello. Let me know how you're doing, how your weekend was. Big sales you want to talk about, let me know. Was it a good weekend for you all? All right, next up was a pair. Okay, we're shipping on Poshmark. A pair of Jordan Flight track pants. You can see the Jordan logo in there, like windbreaker pants that I sold for $25. And these are even size small, men's size small. I hardly ever pick up men's size small. Hardly ever. The item has got to be really good for me to make it worth it. Otherwise, I'm going to leave it behind because men's size small just doesn't sell as fast for me. Probably 4 or 5 years ago, I was going through my spreadsheet, and this was when I kept like a more detailed spreadsheet. I don't really do this anymore as far as like I don't list my sizes in my spreadsheet and in inventory. But I was going through my spreadsheet and I was looking at all of my oldest items, like items that were a year, 2 years old. And I noticed that most of the items were all like small and medium sized. So from that point on, I just said, you know what? I'm going to save my, I guess get more efficient and not pick up men's small and medium anymore, unless it's really good. So I obviously make exceptions for that with certain items, but in general, my idea is size large and up. And again, if you get something like that men's 5XL tall flannel, that always helps. Radiant said, great weekend. Biggest sale to date was a brother embroidery machine for $500. Good sale on that. That was Friday. So congrats to Radiant Bloom Shop on the biggest sale ever this past weekend on Friday. If you have a big sale that you want to talk about, or even if you just want to drop in the biggest sale you've ever had, feel free to do that. Those are always fun to talk about, always conversation starters. Again, guys, I'm sharing nuance with you. These brands are important, but it's also important what the item is. The material, the color, the size. There's a reason why we don't just share brands, we share details. Radiant Bloom Shop. That's a great question for those that are watching on YouTube. Asks, is there a way to do cost of goods instead of each item in the new spreadsheet? And that's honestly a great question that, yes, you can actually do that in the current spreadsheet. So you don't have to list, for those that know, in my spreadsheet, there's a column on the inventory tab that you can break out the cost that you've spent on every single item. I actually don't do that. I used to when I started, because that information was important for me to know what is my profit when you subtract the cost of goods on that item. So it was more of a learning thing for me. I was learning how much I was making exactly on each item. And that was telling me, should I keep picking these up or should I not for that specific item? So if you want to bypass that, you can stop putting the cost in there. And of course, it's always good to talk to your tax professional before you make any big changes like this, and make sure that if you do stop putting the cost in, that they're going to be okay with that, because depending on how you do your taxes, that information may or may not be important. But I don't put it in there anymore. So if you want to bypass that, you can stop putting in breaking out the cost per item. And really what you want to do is put in the total cost that you're spending at the store. So if you go to Goodwill and spend $50 and you look at the bottom of your receipt and tax included, make sure you get tax in there. Tax included is, like, say $51.13. Then you'll just go to your expense tab and you'll create an expense for that amount. So month, day, cost of goods category, and then $51.13 or whatever that total bottom line is. And then you'll put in the store that you bought it from. So if you ever get audited, you can go back into your receipts and check those out. Of course, small chance that we get audited, but you always want to make sure you're keeping good records for the likelihood that could happen. It'd be a headache to not have that information in. So again, you don't have to put the individual cost of goods in each item. You can just go and put in, and that's exactly what I do. Each month I go through and log all of my total spent at each store. I don't put the individuals in anymore. Okay, so hopefully that answers that question. That's enough time on that. Next up was a pair of Polo Ralph Lauren, brand new with the tags, cargo pants, like a black cargo pant that went for $68 on Poshmark. Got two more on Poshmark. I believe I paid $29 for these. Most of the time when I'm going to TJ Maxx, I'm paying $29 for a pair of jeans or pants. Sometimes less, but that's kind of their standard pricing. Get this out of the way. Come back to that because that one's was a pretty early sale. All right, next up. Took a lower offer on this just to get it out quick. I paid $5.99 for this Polo Ralph Lauren beige strap back hat. Got the polo on the back. Best offer of $14 on this. Again, $5.99. That's not going to get me a lot of profit. Probably around that $5 to $6 range. But these polo hats are typically faster flips for me. So I picked it up knowing it was going to be a fast flip. And listed this on 10/3, and it sold on Friday, so 10/24. So obviously about a 2 to 3 week flip there. I guess a 3-week flip. Going to Brooklyn, New York. Good morning, Nick. Great seeing you again. Nick Smith in the live. In the live. How was your weekend, Nick? Eve and Charlene, welcome to the live. Thanks for jumping in and popping in on Facebook and saying hello. All right, last one on Poshmark, and then we're moving over to eBay. We still have 29 orders to go on eBay. This was an REI quilted puffer vest that I picked up at a yard sale. Listed this on September 9th. Picked this up for $3 or $4, and it sold for a best offer of 31 on Poshmark. So I listed this at 35, 34 or 35, somewhere in there. And the way I have Nifty set up, anytime someone likes an item on any platform, it automatically sends out a 10% off offer, and the buyer accepted that. So I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to go into the app to accept it. I got that notification that it sold and that the buyer had accepted my offer, even though I didn't do a thing. Nifty did it for me, and I love that. So a $3 flip into $31 within a couple of months. Gives me a profit of $21.80. $21.80 in just a couple of months. Yeah, you're welcome, Radiant. Thanks for asking that question. That's a good one. All right, so I think we can close out Poshmark. Let's make sure no other sales have come in since we started the live, and they haven't. So we'll close out that tab and get rolling on the eBay orders that I have. Nick says, good quiet weekend, just errands and projects around the house. Yeah, sometimes those are good. You got stuff nagging at you and you're like, let's just get these done and not have to have them mentally weighing on you. This was a great flip that, let's see, how much did I pay for this? I think I paid $6 to $8. The brand, I would venture to guess that at least half of you don't know this brand. Listed on September 19th. It sold for $81 on a best offer plus shipping. This is the brand Western Rise. I've maybe only found 4 items from them in the last 5 years, and they've always been fast flips. They've always been really good sellers. You mostly find their like nice like performance shirts, but this was a hoodie. Again, paid like $6 for, sold on a best offer of 81. If you go online right now, this same hoodie is $150 in the size that the buyer ordered. And so it honestly looked new. The tag didn't look like it had been worn at all. So this person was probably looking at one brand new. They saw mine and they're like, okay, I can pay $150 for a new with tags, or I can pay $81 for a light new without the tags. And that's what they did. They saved some money, got a good deal. Penny, Vicky, Eve, what's going on? Do you find your sales have improved by having social media following? I'm trying to decide if it's worth it to push for social media following. Do my sales improve? I don't really think so. It's really hard to say, like, if someone that's buying from me follows me, because I wouldn't know that unless someone told me. So, you know, there are occasionally times when I'm listing stuff, like I'm doing a story on Instagram, I'm in the thrift store and I'm showing people what I found. And occasionally people will say like, hey, what size is that? I'm interested for myself, for my husband, whatever. And I have sold some items like that, which is always great when that happens, because I will make you a deal. If you see something you like, I'll sell it to you for less because I'm going to save on fees. So yeah, that happens occasionally, but I keep track of that actually in my spreadsheet, and I haven't had that happen I've had 6 social media sales that I know of this year. I didn't really get heavy into social media again until May, but in the last couple of months, I haven't made any. So, again, I've had people reach out, but we haven't made the connection yet, meaning it was the wrong size or they changed their mind, what have you. All right, so about the upper 50s in profit. You should subtract out my cost. I made $58.03 on this Western Rise hoodie. What is the drink of choice this morning? It's almost always the same, and it's boring. It's just a big cup of water. That's all it is. Probably go through 3 of these in a day at least. This is like a 40-ounce tumbler from American Bubble Boy. You guys see that right there? American Bubble Boy sent me, he always sends like his affiliates great gifts for the holidays, and that came in last year. All right, my biggest sale of weekend. So I sold these 2 or 3 weeks ago. These G4 golf shoes. They've got the tuxedo stripe, which is this really shiny black stripe on the bottom. Sold them for 91 like 3 weeks ago. These are like new. Again, these shoes, a lot of times with like new or brand new, 175 retail price on these. Sold them for 91. They got returned. Buyer made an offer for 96 when they came back, and I took it. So love that. Made the sale. Got $5 more than the last time. Which honestly, I could have held out and gotten more because I had a lot of following on these, but I'm not going to get greedy. I'm going to just take the deal and move on. I paid $8.99 for these about 4 or 5 weeks ago. And they've already sold twice. That's how good this brand is. They've already sold twice for close to $100. Dihydrogen monoxide for the win. Is that what they're calling it, huh? Got to stay hydrated, right? Most of the time it's shoes. I'm just doing bubble wrap and a poly mailer. These are a $300 pair of boots. I wouldn't do that, but never had any complaints so far. The buyer on these shoes actually reached out right before the live, and they were like, hey, it's been 3 days. Are you going to ship these out pretty soon? I mean, he was polite about it. He wasn't like rude. And he was like, your store says you ship out within a day. And I was like, hey, thanks for checking. I ship out within a business day. So you ordered on Friday. They're going out today. I'm getting ready to ship them. He was like, okay, cool. Thanks. Just wants to know that, he's going to get them pretty soon. It'd be funny if this was the same person that bought them and returned them and they were like, cool. And then they're like, oh, wait. I mean, it wouldn't be funny for me. I don't want to get any more returns. All right. For those that don't know, I recently, probably in the last 2 months, switched from free shipping to buyer paid shipping. So all of my shipping now is paid by the buyer. And I recently had a pair of pants that I sold where the measurements of the pants didn't match the tag. So I had some Tommy Bahama pants I sold that were supposed to be 42 by 30, and they were like 44 by 30. And so I listed them as the measurements, and then I had notes in the description. I had pictures of the measurements. Buyer got them, and they were like, this is not what I ordered. Of course, they did a return request for doesn't match description or photos, which really irks me because then it forces me to pay for their shipping back. And of course, I can challenge that with eBay, but a lot of times I'm just like, you know what? Um, it's going to be a hassle for me to have to call and then fight them and see if it works. Nick says the size and then actual in parentheses is how he lists the title. Actually, that's almost exactly how I do it, Nick. I do parentheses, actual size, parentheses. So almost verbatim what you do. And let me know what you all do when you have something where, say, the tag says 34 by 30 and they actually measure, maybe the inseam's been taken up and it's 34 by 28. How would you handle that situation? So he sent a message just basically stating like, these aren't the pants that I ordered. And I said, hey, did you happen to just check the description and the pictures of the measurements? These actually measure, and I gave him the measurements. And then I said, you may want to try them on because although the tag does show this size, it's a different size. I never heard from the guy. He sent them back already. And I went ahead and refunded on Friday. And then I saw I was charged for the return shipping on these pants because the buyer selected doesn't match description or photos, which is a crock of crap. I deducted the original shipping from his order. And I think next time what I'll do is deduct the original shipping and the shipping coming back. In cases like this, you can deduct up to 50%. So next time I will go ahead and include the shipping coming back since he incorrectly labeled this as doesn't match description. But that's how I handle those situations. Radiant says, has your Mercari and Depop slowed? My sales have really dropped off with those. Yes, they have. Depop is actually kind of on an upswing right now. And I think with Depop, whenever I don't know. I have nothing to prove this on, but I feel like whenever you start to get sales and activity, your sales just continue to go up. And I think the same with eBay. I've noticed a little upswing with Depop more than what I typically have. But it's not a lot. I'm not making a lot of sales over there. Matter of fact, if I'm looking at my platforms on my spreadsheet, on Depop, I've made 9 sales in October. I did 4 the month before that, and I did 6 the month before that. So obviously October is on an upswing. I don't know if I've done anything different. I know I've been running like some 10% off sales and I've been boosting all my listings. So that definitely helps. I boost everything over there. I feel like you kind of have to make sales. Mercari is dead in the water. Although I have made 6 sales this month, and that's more than the last 2 months combined, it's still dead. One of those is a buyer bought 3 shirts, so it's kind of skewed a little bit. But I've honestly stopped listing on Mercari through Nifty. I really just go eBay, Poshmark, Depop, and then I'm done. I'm always tempted to list back on Mercari again just because it's a couple clicks and it's there. But I'm like, you know what? I don't want to waste my time if I'm not making sales. All right, eBay, Eddie Bauer hiking pants. $18 on these, like the outdoor nylon blend hiking pants. From May of 2024, they're out the door. 18 bucks isn't a lot, but that's pretty typical. 18 to 22 on these pants. Maybe slipping up into the mid 20s if you're lucky. A buyer comes in and just pays full price. Going to Boise, Idaho. Do I boost with Nifty? No, I don't. Actually, you can do that with Nifty, but I think you have to check it for like every single listing, which is an extra click every time. If you go into Depop and you go into your settings, you can boost your whole store so that every time a new listing pops up, it's boosted. So you just turn it on and it will automatically boost and share all of your, I say share, but you know what I mean, boost. It will boost all of your listings. So check that out. It's really simple to do. And you don't have to worry about doing it every single time you create a listing. All right, one of my favorite sales from this weekend, not because of the dollar amount, but just because it's different than clothing. This was an Eddie Bauer, like safari style canvas duffel bag. Eddie Bauer with a Ford logo right here. So you got the Ford logo right here honestly, I didn't know this was Eddie Bauer until I started looking at comps. Trying to see where it actually is. I don't know. Somewhere on this bag it says Eddie Bauer, but it's a collab they did. Oh, okay. It's right under the Ford logo. So I missed it the first time, but Ford really big, Eddie Bauer kind of small underneath. This duffel went for $30 on a best offer going to Burbank, California. There is honestly a bunch of these bags out there, the exact same bag. So I don't know why mine sold. I mean, I don't know that mine sold before the others, but it sold pretty quickly. I listed October 3rd. Within 3 weeks, it sold for $30, and I paid $5.99 for this bag. Great thing is I've got a box that I just got from Amazon, so this is going to be perfect. Gosh, I love it when that happens. Put a little bubble wrap on the top just in case they use a knife or something, a little bit of protection. And probably one of the fastest packing jobs I've had on a non-clothing item in a while. It already had like the filler in there, so yeah, had that been just like a Ford bag unbranded, then still would have sold, but the fact that it had a collab with Eddie Bauer makes it obviously more desirable. Radiant says, whoops, on the Depop boosting. No big deal. We learn from one another. And of course, there are ways that I do things now that maybe aren't, I don't know. I guess all I'm trying to say is we continue to learn how to get better and faster at this business. And I learn from you all. You learn from me. It's just like a rotating door of information. All right, we got 4 pounds on this. I charged $12.95 to ship it going to California. Obviously, it's going to be higher for me than, say, like Kansas. Sorry about that, Facebook. 18 by 14 by 6. $10.94 ground advantage. Of course, I can always check like UPS, $11.10 for UPS, and $9.16 for FedEx. So I can save like $1.80 choosing FedEx over ground. I think I'm going to do that. And if it was like less than $1, I probably would not do that. But next time I go out, I'll just drop this off. If you're watching and you have any questions at all, got some questions you're curious about, please let me know. It makes the conversation a lot more fun and interesting and engaging. If there's anything you're curious about, all right. That was kind of my awkward item to get out there. So now it'll be smooth sailing from here. Got some brand new with tags, J Farrar. Dress pants, $22.50 on these. I list these at like $29 all day on this brand and these pants if they're new with tags. And I take offers of obviously $22.50 and up. Not the best brand. It's like a JCPenney's department store brand. But if I can get new with tags on a lot of stuff, I'll consider it as long as it's not Walmart or Target. What about you all? Would you pay like $4 or $5 for a pair of pants like that, brand new with tags? Profits me like $12, which I'm okay with. I didn't spend 12, so I didn't even spend half that. Radiant's got to go. Thanks, Radiant. Yeah, that'll be dropping in the next couple of weeks, by November 7th. All right, got a new Untuck It. Sold maybe 3 or 4 of these. This one's going out for $24 on eBay. I love finding stuff that just, you list a multi-quantity deal and then they just go. You don't have to keep managing it. They just keep selling. Danny, that's a great question. Danny on YouTube asks about the different versions of spreadsheets. Yeah, so for those that don't know, I've got 3 different versions. I do have a video that will break down those 3 versions. You can find that on my YouTube channel. It's like a 8-minute video, and it will show you each version and kind of tell you why you would want the different versions. So basic, premium, and creator. So if you go to my YouTube page and just search, it'll probably be in the last like 15 videos, you'll find it'll say something like preview the 3 spreadsheets or something along those lines. I would send it for you here. Actually, I'll just go ahead and put it in the comments for you, Danny, just so you have it and you don't have to leave. I can drop a link real quick. Of course, I'll be doing a new video for the 26 version. But this will be good for this will be good for 25, and it will give you a general idea for 26 too. I mean, the kind of the premise behind why you would want which spreadsheet. There you go. Just popped it in for you so you can quickly access that when you need to. Oh, I was looking at an eBay order and I was like, did this person buy 2 of these same pairs of pants for me? But I was just looking at the wrong tab. Okay. Basically, really quickly, if you're interested in a spreadsheet, the basic is just going to give you a way to track, keep your inventory database, get your profit, your sales, and a bunch of different metrics. The premium is going to be what most people go for. It's a lot more charts, a lot more metrics to measure. It's got more of a business component to it where you can track expenses. You can track platforms, stores, categories, brands, mileage, home office. I mean, consignment. It's got a lot of stuff the basic doesn't have. Again, the basic is on the lower end. It's just your basic spreadsheet. That still has a lot of value. It's just more affordable. Premium is got a lot more bells and whistles. And that's basically for more like solely reseller based people. You just resell and that's it. The creator is for those people who not only do they resell, but like me, they may create content and get paid for it. They may have other forms of income like merchandise, or maybe you do whatnot shows and you want a place to track all of that revenue. So you want to track your reseller sales, your content money, your affiliate links. You want to track maybe some merchandise you're selling. That's what the creator's for. And it will track all of your revenue for your business on that sheet. So if you don't have content creation, you don't have merchandise and all that, the creator's probably going to be too much for you. And I would just say drop down to the premium. But if you do whatnot and you want that specific whatnot data, then you'll want the creator. All right, enough on that. Any recommendations? Isaiah says on shipping a 75-piece China set, just had an order placed, and this is the first big set I've had to ship. I have not done China in a long time, and 75 pieces is quite a lot. I think I'll just kick that out to you all. For those that may be watching that have shipped large amounts of China all at once, what's your recommendations for how to do that? Back in the day, I used to do like plate sets, but it would just be like 8 plates. I didn't have like 75 pieces. So I can't really speak from experience here. And I would hate to steer you in a direction that would lead you, wouldn't be good for you. So I'll just throw it out. And if anyone comments from YouTube, I'll read it over to you, Isaiah. Oh, let's show you what I got. This corduroy Gap, brand new with tags shirt. Whenever you see a tag like this, Gap, typically means it was either purchased, it was either sold at Costco or Sam's Club. And so this is kind of a lower end Gap. This is not the standard quality Gap store stuff. So I only got 25 bucks for it, but it's a heavy corduroy shirt. And again, something I probably paid $5 for. Knowing that it was a lower quality Gap, I would not have paid a lot for this. Isaiah says, definitely recommend the spreadsheet. I appreciate that, Isaiah. I love hearing that people are finding it valuable and it's really helping their business. Means the world to me that it's helping other resellers organize their numbers in a way that can help them make decisions they need to make. I've used this spreadsheet obviously to track my sales and the standard stuff, but I have used it to help inform me on whether I want to continue selling on platforms. I use it all the time to see, like, should I stop selling on a certain platform? And that's led me to stop selling on Grailed, on Facebook. I use it to tell me which stores are performing better than others so I can focus on those stores. There's just a lot you can do with it. Next up, a Untuck It polo shirt, long sleeve, new with tags, sold for $25.63. And I won't talk about the spreadsheet this whole live, but while I'm on it, I've got a fun new set of features coming up for the 2026. So think 2025 and then add some features on. We will have a year over year data part of the sheet where you can bring in your 25 numbers and you can track against your 26 numbers and see how are you doing month to month compared to last year, which will be fun. You won't have to go back and forth between spreadsheets. It's all right there in the one spreadsheet. I've also got a couple of new columns on the month tab that are more forecasting. So they'll tell you, should your monthly sales continue what you're trending at. This is really important at the beginning of the month when you're trying to think, like, if I can keep this average pace for this month, how much will I make in sales this month? That will tell you that. All right. I actually went live when I found these shoes at Salvation Army, and they were $1 each. And I got like 7 or 8 pairs of these Lands' End women's, like, driving mocks, leather, different sizes. I paid $1 each. This is the second pair to sell. These went for $29.92. So obviously $1 is a good find. And even though I'm not a huge Lands' End fan, I become a fan of a lot of brands when you can get it for $1. Especially when they're brand new. Man, I just think if I could get everything for $1, I wouldn't be able. I mean, I'd have to have like a large moving truck because I would just have so much stuff. So $29.92 plus shipping gives me a profit of $24.89. That's 2,400% return on my investment. So I spent $1, I got $24.89 back, almost 2,500%. Going to Cuesta, New Mexico. I haven't shipped to New Mexico in a while. Next up, this was my slowest flip of, no, not the right one. Geez, that could have been bad. You can see why I got those mixed up. I had 2 Polo Ralph Lauren shirts, new with tags. This is the correct one. $51 on this. I listed in August, end of August. I picked up like 6 or 7 of these shirts for 20 to 22 a piece. This was the last one to sell. Man, that could have been bad if I mixed that up. I haven't done that in a while where I've sent the wrong item to the wrong buyer. Good morning, Chemo. How are things going for you? I think you're in Washington, right? Student of the game here, aren't we all? We're all students of the game. So that was a Polo Ralph Lauren long sleeve shirt, like a long sleeve knit polo. And that's why I got so many of them. The short sleeves are just super saturated. I hardly ever buy those anymore. All right, Sun Mountain vest. There's the brand Sun Mountain. It's going to be backwards for you all. Put YouTube there, you can see it. Sold this for $22 on a best offer. Sun Mountain is a golf brand. They make golf bags, which you want to find their golf bags. I've had good luck with theirs selling bags over $100. I don't find Sun Mountain that often, though. Houston, Texas. Why was I thinking that you were in Washington? I'm thinking of someone else. So $22 on that vest. I listed it in March. Just a little off. Oh, just a few states away. You can hear some of my Irish accent coming in there. Just a few states away. All right. Someone is getting ready for ski season with these Columbia Convert ski pants going to Trinidad, Colorado. So like a cargo ski pant, insulated, waterproof, things that I would put in the title. $33.22. $33.22 on this fine morning. Again, this was an item that Nifty sent out the 10% offer. The buyer accepted. I didn't have to do anything. I didn't even have to counter. I just watched the sale come in. I remember back in the day, I would post, like if it was near ski season, I would post these ski pants, especially like North Face, LL Bean, Columbia. I would post these and sell them for 30 to 40 and up all day. And there's just so many people selling nowadays. It's just harder to get rid of them. All right. For $37.99 full price on these Nike women's. The model is 10K, and it's spelled TENKAY, all one word. Used Google Lens to find that. So these like kind of flat. They've got like the ballet flat elastic ankle shoes, but they're excellent condition. Don't look like they've been worn much, and they sold fast. They're listed on October 3rd. Again, within 3 weeks. Picked them up for $12.99. They sold for $37.99. And there are resellers out there that would have seen the $12.99 price tag and said, nope, leaving those behind. I definitely thought about it, but I'm glad that I picked them up. 12 into 38. Gives me a profit of $21, $20.40. Alrighty. I think we're halfway through eBay. I mean, it's a good feeling. You're not going to hear me complaining about sales. Spending time shipping items. All right. Old item going out March of 2024. This Fabletics hoodie. It's like a women's crop hoodie. I'm not picking up this brand anymore. I'm not really in women's, especially. It's like a gold color. It's soft, velvety. Sold for $16, $18. And I had like 3 or 4 items that were older items go out this weekend. And it's always good to see those things go. I mean, we're a year and a half past when I picked this up. My oldest item this weekend was 654 days old. Older than this one right here. This was 592 days. All right. Another bundle deal. I picked up probably 10 pairs of these Adidas women's golf shoes from TJ Maxx, I believe, for $22 a piece. I think there were varying prices, but some of them may have been under that $20 mark. These sold for $40. So I thought I'd get more than that. I was hoping for like $59. And that wasn't the case. And I still have 5 pairs left. So sometimes that happens. You buy bulk. You get a lot of sellers in on that specific model, and then you have to lower your price to keep up with your competition. Going to Houston, Texas. That's interesting. And the reason why I say that's interesting is because I had someone making an offer on these from Aspen. They made an offer for $35, and I was the lowest price on these at $40, $49. And I thought, this person is an Aspen. I'm not going to take a $35 offer. I bet they can afford $40. Which I wanted 40 anyways, but I ended up getting an offer for 40, and I just assumed it was the same person, but this one's going to Houston. So not the same person. Chemo, did you order these Adidas golf shoes? $10 profit on $22 spent. It's not my goal there, but they're gone. I mean, obviously, if I were back in that store again and you told me you're going to spend 22 to make 10, I'd say I'm not picking them up. And that happens, but I didn't lose money, so we're still good. Whoa. All right, Eddie Bauer. You may be surprised. This sweater sold for $27, but it's got this really cool Nordic print. There's maybe a better look at the print. And this was a wool blend sweater. Men's. I thought it was women's, but men's. $27 plus shipping going to Rhode Island. Lainey, Eve, Diana, what's going on? Sorry, Eve. I think I called you out like 3 times now. I'm just reading names, but I'm realizing that you've been in here for a while. One of the few Eddie Bauer pieces that I will pick up, a beautiful Nordic wool blend sweater. Just got a counter offer on eBay. So I've got a pair of Bird Dogs. You guys know the brand Bird Dogs. We've got some performance pants. I've sold these pretty consistently from 28 to 35. I've been going back and forth with this buyer since last night. This person has countered at 27. I was at 28. I'm going to take it and move on. I really wanted 28. That was my low, but I'm going to bend on this one just to make the sale and not lose it. I paid $6.99 for these pants, so to get 27, that's great. This was my fastest flip of the weekend. Took 4 days to sell. LL Bean flannel shirt. You may be surprised for $37.99. $37.99 on this. That was full price. Buyer paid again within 4 days of listing this, and I'll tell you, it is a wool blend, and it's like a Western shirt where it snaps up instead of buttons. And honestly, it doesn't look like it's been worn. Great color, plaid pattern. This same shirt right now is for sale on LL Bean's site for, I want to say it's like $79.99. So you list it for half that price. It's light new and it goes. I love LL Bean. It's a step up from Eddie Bauer to me as far as reselling goes. I'm not commenting on wearing it or the quality. I'm more just commenting on how it does for me reselling wise. Gives me $23 profit on this, $24 profit. Janet, what's going on? Thanks for popping in to say hello. You won't be able to see the brand on this because it's pretty tucked away and hidden. It's folded up, but the brand is Built, BYLT. This specific model is the Drop Cut Luxe Henley hoodie. A lot of times with Built, you'll find it right under the brand. It will tell you the model. This sold for $29.92. I paid $6 for this. I actually got like 3 or 4 Built pieces that were all the same size, donated by the same buyer or the same person. And I had another hoodie that I sold pretty quickly. So almost just shy of $30 on this. And I listed this mid-September. I don't know if you all can hear, but Layla, our cat, is right outside my door meowing to come in. I'll let you all vote. Should I bring Layla in? Should Layla make an appearance today? Get a little furry, fuzzy friend. Let's bring her in. Guest on the show. Layla, come on. Come here. Give you guys a little inside peek at our pet here. Layla, our little furry friend. She's a sweetie. She's a good cat. She loves being in here too. Oh. All right, this next sale was a little confusing to me because I picked this up and listed it January of 2023. We're 2.5 years past this. This is a brand new with tags, wool blend, polo Ralph Lauren sweater. It's size XL. It's a great size, great color. I mean, the only thing is it doesn't have the pony on the front, which may make a difference. It had like a small thread pool on the back shoulder, like really small thread pool. It was on the back. I had this listed. I mean, I'm thinking it's a wool blend sweater that retails for like $190. So I listed it like 90, 80, and I just kept dropping the price through time. Finally, I had this discounted so heavily. Buyer made an offer of 31 and I took it. I paid I think I paid $22 for this, January of 2023. Obviously, when I picked it up, I thought I would sell it for a lot more than 31. Thought I would get easily 60 to 70. But again, if I had to guess, I mean, the flaw doesn't help, but not having the pony on the front, I think, was maybe the reason why. With Polo Ralph Lauren, people really are buying to get that pony. That's why they're buying it. So at 31, if I paid 22, I'm pretty much almost breaking even on that guy. Sorry, I missed a couple of labels here. Let's see. I made $2, $1.80. So not the strategy. This next guy, Polo Ralph Lauren, brand new with tags, hoodie. It's got the big polo going across the chest right here. Reached out in a message and just said, hey, I'm going to the Florida football game this weekend. Can you make sure to have it to me by Friday? Ship it as fast as possible. He needs it by November 1st, which is Saturday. So, I mean, I'm going to ship it like I ship everything else. This should be there by then. That's 5 days. But I'm not going to pay to ship it faster just because they would like me to ship it faster. Not that he's asking for me to ship it faster. I think he's just saying, don't delay on getting it out the door. That sold for $84.55. And I picked up 2 or 3 of those for 49 bucks a piece. So I'm making like mid-20s on these. Jennifer, what's going on? Thanks for popping in. Got a North Face new with tag flannel that retails for $90, sold for $37.99. Going to Walla Walla, Washington. Walla Walla. Picked up a few of these as well. Retail arbitrage. They had like a weird, it had like a patch on the front, so it wasn't just a flannel from North Face. It had a patch that said, nature is magic, which is kind of an interesting thing that I think most people would be turned off by. Oh, hey there. There she goes. And I paid 20 a piece on these. Surf's Up Fines. What's going on, Brad? How are things in Indiana this morning? So you'll see a lot of retail arbitrage from me. I focus a lot on 2 times a year picking up a bunch of retail arbitrage, and it helps keep the business going. Because a lot of people that won't buy used are obviously going to buy new. This was back in the day, February of 2024. Bought from Chris at Peak on his Whatnot show. It was a brand new Prana, like women's wrap. Kind of like a lightweight cardigan. I thought it would sell for more than it did. $32 on this, 2.5, I guess a year and a half later. And sometimes that's also the drawback of buying, paying up for more expensive items. You hope to sell it faster. If you're going to pay $20, $30, $40 for an item, you want to get your money back faster. That wasn't the case with this, but I still broke even, made money. I sold it. That's the moral of the story here. It's gone. It is gone. Fisha sells. What's up? Jennifer, thank you so much. Jennifer says, found you last week and been watching your videos. I appreciate that. Love hearing that videos I'm making are helping people in their business wherever they are. Next up, new Untuck It. You saw one earlier. Here's another one for 23. Brand new with tags going out the door. For those that don't know, I picked up a pallet of these. 600 of these shirts. I've sold almost 20% of them. I'm about to crack the 100 unit mark. So what is that? 16%. And that was my biggest bulk buy that I've had to date, 600 units. It's one of those things where it's like, do I want to do this? That's a lot of money to drop all at once, but I'm really glad I did it. Every week, several of those sell, and it's just money in the bank at this point. And also I knew, they're all brand new with tags, and most of them are like 2XL, 3XL. So I knew I would make money on them. It was just a matter of time, and I knew I was going to be in it for the long haul. I mean, you have 600 shirts. It's going to take a while to sell if you're not selling them on Whatnot. Okay, these are Britannia like windbreaker track pants. Not much I want to say about these. They have like a smoky smell. I sold them for $6.65. I'm always baffled how an item gets by me that smells like smoke, and I get home and I'm like, why did I buy these? Sometimes I get in a hurry, or if I'm live, it's a lot easier to miss things if I go live while I'm thrifting. Going to Puerto Rico. So all around, I lost on these. I lost on my shipping because they went to Puerto Rico and it costs more. I lost because I sold them for so cheap. Are you all shipping to Puerto Rico, or is that something that you have excluded in your eBay store? For like heavier items, I've turned off Hawaii and Alaska. And Puerto Rico, I tend to exclude on like 3 pounds and up. Got a Carhartt chambray shirt for $22.23 going to Santa Fe, New Mexico. Listed March of 2025. Suzanne says over 400 listings, all big name brands. Prices are low, picks are great. Use Nifty and not one sale in almost a week. What in the world? Too bad there isn't a reboost on platforms. That is surprising. Without seeing like your listings or knowing anything, it's hard to say like why that's happening, to not have one sale in over a week with 400 listings. I'm really sorry to hear that. I hope that things pick up for you, because yeah, that can like start to weigh on you mentally when you have that going on for so long. I guess the question for you, Suzanne, is how often do you typically make sales with those numbers? When things are just rolling, are you making a sale every day? Are you making 4 sales a day? What does that typically look like for you, to kind of see like how far off you are right now? Beautiful place, been twice. Santa Fe. Yeah, I've driven through. I've never really stayed. I've been to Albuquerque during the balloon festival, which was fun. That was a surprise on the way back from California, and just popped in and there were like 100 balloons up in the sky. Hot air balloons, not just like balloons. Puerto Rico. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. But Santa Fe's, it's got its own beauty, right? All right, next up, Ariat rebar. Funny thing on these is I was just thrifting on Friday, came across a pair of Ariats for $10, and I passed on them because I'm like, man, I had these pairs sitting, and they ended up selling yesterday for $34.18. So would I pay 10 to sell for 34? Yeah, I would do that if they were going to sell faster. Ariat, and Ariat's a great brand. I typically was hoping for more than 34, but don't get me wrong, that's a great flip. I think I paid up for these though. I had them listed around like 49, thinking they'd sell for 40. So 30, mid 30s isn't bad. And they didn't take too long to sell. 198 days. So I guess over 6 months, that is kind of long. I thought it was quicker than that. Made 31, Suzanne, back to Suzanne, made 31 sales first day using Nifty. Since then, oh, I think Chris posted about you. Was that your picture where you had 31 sales the first day? Maybe 4 to 5 a day, listing at least 10 a day, but all week, no sales. Are you still listing 10 a day right now? Yeah, that's mind-boggling, and that's really confusing. I'm really sorry, Suzanne. Hope you get it turned around here soon. Got a pair of Lululemon pants I sold for $525, and the reason they had a hole in the crotch. So it's get your money back, get out of it, get it out of the closet. You lost money, cut your losses, and move on. Get your money back and move on. Going to Bellefontaine, Ohio. All right. This came in last night. Good sale for the weekend. Going to Branson, Missouri, which is like an hour and a half up the road. $86 on this new G4 track jacket. Brand new with tags. Retails for $280. Went for $86. I was trying to get this guy closer to $100. And at the end of the day, I was like, let's just get it gone. I listed this January of 2025. I'm making money on this. I don't remember how much I paid for it, but it's only because in January I was picking up so much yellow tag stuff that I wasn't keeping track of how much on everything. All right, down to the last 3. Another Polo Ralph Lauren hoodie, brand new with tags. Retails for $188. Got $85.48. Paid $49 for this guy. $49, and this is the French Terry hoodie. With Polo Ralph Lauren, it's hard to find a model. I typically will do a Google Lens, and that will pull it up most times. Had a really interesting pattern on it. It's like it looked like a cloud. It's like blue with like a distressed kind of look. Have I had any luck with Santarelli men's pants? No, I don't even know the brand, to be honest with you. I've never found it. It sounds like something that I've heard of, but I've never, I have no experience. I'm trying not to use another bin here. All right. Took a best offer on this. Thrifted for, I think, like $8. This Solomon jacket. Got home, looked it up. I mean, I knew I would get 30 to 40 on this. Got home, looked it up, and ended up listing higher. I had this at $69. I found the exact model. I knew exactly what these were selling for. And it was at $65 on sale. Buyer made an offer for $50. I took it. Again, when it's a thrifted item that I paid like less than $10 for, I'm a little more willing to come down on the price. And that was a great way to start the Monday, to get this $50 sale going to Bloomington, Indiana. We're all over the map this morning. Chemo, I still think you should try out Santa Fe, though. Maybe you should pop over to Santa Fe and see what's going on over there. All right, this guy was like going back and forth, really trying to get every penny, every dollar out of this. 50, I had this at 65 on sale, 10% off. I came down to 52 on these Polo Ralph Lauren corduroy pants. He kept trying like 35, 40, 42, 45, 47. I was like, dude, 52 bucks, brand new pants, $125 retail. Finally, he took it. So going to Texas. A lot of times with retail arbitrage, it's like, look, I know how much I have into these. I have $29. I can't go lower than 50. I stuck at 52, and he finally took it. So I didn't make quite as much as I was hoping for when I bought these. I think I made $11 profit. And I know a lot of you out there may be thinking, man, you spent a lot of money on retail arbitrage to not make as much. And there was a time I was heavy on retail arbitrage. I was going every week buying stuff on clearance. And now I don't do that anymore. I only go when it's like clearance on clearance to help me make sure I don't get into situations where I'm paying 29 for 11 profit. And honestly, thrifting is just so much more fun because you can just find stuff that sells for 10 times what you're spending instead of getting half of what you're spending in profit. All right. You know what? You got to try things out. You got to learn. If you don't try things out, you're not learning. If you're not making mistakes, you're not learning. I'm going to go in and log the sale that I just made while we were live here. The Bird Dogs pants. We're making good time. I know I tried for an hour and I'm over that, but considering I had almost 40 items to ship, I feel pretty good. All right, so the Bird Dogs pants, I accepted 27 plus shipping. I remember where I was when I picked up these pants. Sometimes I have that memory. I paid $6.99, and we'll get you the stats. They took 26 days to sell. It's going to profit me around $20 on these. Maybe just a little less, depending on if they sold promoted. So that's my fourth sale of the morning so far. And all of them have been higher priced items. The hoodie for 85, the jacket for 50, the pants for 52, and then that for 27. Looks like they didn't sell promoted, so that's good. Profits me about $18 after shipping. All right, so that's all I have for you this morning. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I want to talk about, or if anything else came in on the other platforms. Not seeing anything. I had a guy making an offer on a hat on Poshmark. We were going back and forth, but it looks like he's not going to take it. So I'm going to go ahead and end here. Of course, remember the 2026 reseller spreadsheet coming out in a couple weeks. Be looking for that. It's going to help boost your 2026 sales. It's going to help show you, well, I don't know if it'll help you boost your sales. It'll help you know where you're making mistakes, where you're doing really well. It will help you keep track in a way that maybe you haven't in the past if you haven't had the sheet. So be looking for the 2026 reseller spreadsheet that I think will be huge for your business. Thanks for popping in here on Facebook. We're saying goodbye. I'll go ahead and end this here first. And YouTube, we'll catch you on another live. Make sure to join me next Monday around the same time to see the items that I'm shipping out then. Hope you have a great week and a great Halloween too. We'll see you all later.